Calibrated what success might mean if everyone does stay together, if Steve Kerr does in fact re-sign. And obviously Curry's not going anywhere. And if they continue to run it back, he said, quote, whether we win a championship or not, I think as you get older, you have to redefine what is success. Success may not be for us at this point a championship. He started talking about sellout streaks, and he talked about other metrics that weren't raising a banner, which is something you would never have said before. So that to me was the more, obviously he was trying to have fun at Barkley's expense. The joke didn't really land, but that's the thing that, I don't know. Did you hear what Draymond Green had to say on Inside the NBA last night? Chris, did you see that?
The part about Barkley not wanting to be him
in a Rockets uniform. What'd you make of that, about talking about the end? Because, Barkley was talking about the end of the Warriors run. And Draymond had a fascinating appearance sitting in Shaq's chair last night.
Yeah.
What'd you make of that comment in Charles's direction?
I mean, well, to me, I love watching both of those guys together because Draymond's one of the most entertaining, guys in the game. And so when I heard him say that, I looked at it as a joke, because I'm sure if we look at some of his statistics during those games, I'm sure Barkley had some monster games. But one thing Draymond has correct is that I think, maybe it compares to an old boxer looking at himself, because I know a lot of, my peers, when we look at that last year, it's kind of hard. Your body is different, sagging in areas it wouldn't. Your recuperating time is different. And so you can't have bounce back games like you used to after back-to-backs, And so I think what he was saying about Barkley wasn't necessarily just the skill, because Barkley was still killing on the court. I'm sure he averaged 18 or something like that at least. But, the body tells a lot. And for Draymond, it was really good to see him, kind of reminisce in real time about the great team, that he's been on. But I truthfully love the back and forth between him and Austin Reeves. So it's been an entertaining week when it comes to
it certainly has. No, I know that. And Draymond's going to have an excellent second career when he gets there. And then that's the conversation right now about the Warriors. We'll get to the playoffs in a sec. Is, again, how he kind of recalibrated what success might mean if everyone does stay together, if Steve Kerr does in fact re-sign. And obviously Curry's not going anywhere. And if they continue to run it back, he said, quote, whether we win a championship or not, I think as you get older, you have to redefine what is success. Success may not be for us at this point a championship. He started talking about sellout streaks, and he talked about other metrics that weren't raising a banner, which is something you would never have said before. So that to me was the more, obviously he was trying to have fun at Barkley's expense. The joke didn't really land, but that's the thing that jumped out at me from what he said last night, Chris.
No, I hear you. And let me state this first. Championships matter, okay? Championships matter, whether you're lucky enough to play with the best center in the world or whether you're lucky enough to have the best coach in the world. Championships matter. And it's so hard to get a championship. And I think that's where the discussion, where it kind of goes off the rails, because the focus should be a championship. But I've never had respect for championship chasers. And so Draymond, and meaning going to any team to team up with anybody to get that championship, because most of those guys I talk to are empty because they're like, dang, I really didn't contribute. The city doesn't even remember that I was on that team because I wasn't part of the core. And I think what Draymond is saying is that if I'm a Golden State fan, I know the heart that Draymond has. I know the heart that Steph has. I didn't want them to trade Klay, because what happened? They didn't get better for it. And actually, when you don't get better, off the court, you don't get better. It's like, what are you accomplishing? And so for me, I would love to see Draymond retired there. That would be a wonderful moment. I mean, you damn near teared up when you saw him and Steph and Steve Kerr getting together in their little semicircle. So I really agree. Like, what is that success? Is it number of sellouts? Is it impacting the community? Is it all this? Because you're going to split it up and they won't win a championship next year. And 2 years ago, Curry probably had, in my opinion, an MVP caliber season. So are you wasting his years trying to go find somebody that doesn't fit into this offense, that doesn't play that way? And so again, it was interesting to watch Draymond in real time. You know you're going to get that honesty. Championships matter. And he has the luxury to look and say, now that we've won our championships, what are we doing? Because really, if he leaves and other guys leave and they leave it in disarray, then it's going to be like a lot of teams that have no connectivity to those greats in the past that help set what the tone was in the locker room and how to be in that community and all those things. And I think that's what you're seeing from him is it's the total impact. And truthfully, with those guys being together, they can pass it off and make sure that whole environment is ready for the next generation to come in. They're part of, team development. They're part of showing the younger guys what it's about. Because when you have that example in real time, when to get to practice, how to handle yourself, how to get through the tough times, that's more player development than any coach can ever do. And so it was really cool hearing him say that. And that's why, truthfully, I'm glad that Dame went back to Portland. Where is he going to go? Chase and get criticized in New York?
Warriors Nation News. Dub Nation, let me hit you with a question that sounds impossible until you really picture it. What if one of the loudest off-season twists in the NBA ends with Klay Thompson walking back into the Bay in a Warriors jersey? Not as a memory, not as a tribute night, but as a real piece for one more push with Steph Curry and Draymond Green. Just imagine the reaction inside Chase Center if that happened. The reason fans are even talking like this is because the context is real. Golden State finished 37-45, missed the playoffs after the play-in loss to Phoenix, and Steve Kerr has openly been weighing his future after the season, which tells you this is not a quiet offseason for the Warriors. This is a pressure offseason, a legacy offseason. What do we do with the rest of Steph's window offseason? Klay, meanwhile, is still with Dallas after leaving Golden State on a 3-year, $50 million deal in 2024. And the Mavericks' own offseason picture now looks shaky enough that ESPN has already framed Klay as one of the veterans Dallas can either keep or explore moving in the trade market. That does not mean a reunion is happening. It does mean the door is open enough for people to talk. And once you start talking about it from a basketball angle, things get very interesting very fast. Klay is no longer prime Klay, let's be honest about that, but NBA.com lists him at 11.7 points per game this past season, and he still remains one of the most respected movement shooters the league has ever seen. Even in a down phase, defenders do not relax around him, and that matters next to Steph, because Golden State's offense has always been at its most dangerous when opponents are forced to make impossible choices. If Klay came back, the Warriors would not be bringing in a savior. They would be bringing back a system fit, a culture fit, and a player who does not need the ball to bend a defense. That is a big difference. Steph still creates panic. Draymond still organizes chaos. Klay still knows exactly where to be, exactly when to rise, exactly how to punish a late closeout. And let's be real, there is also an emotional advantage here that matters more than people admit. You are not teaching Klay what Warriors basketball feels like. You are not asking him to learn the heartbeat of the locker room. He helped build the heartbeat. Come on now, that is real value. Now, there are obvious complications. Dallas is not just going to hand him back out of kindness, and Golden State would have to decide whether a reunion is worth using real assets or matching salary in a complicated cap environment. ESPN's off-season snapshot specifically says Dallas has veterans like Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford, Najee Marshall, and PJ Washington to either keep or explore moving, which tells you the Mavericks are at least staring at choices, especially after another non-playoff year. But that is exactly why this idea keeps briefing. Klay's fit in Dallas was built for a different version of the team, and that situation changed hard. Golden State, on the other hand, still has the ecosystem that made him special in the first place: Steph's gravity, Draymond's playmaking, Kerr's motion principles, if Kerr stays, and a fan base that would embrace him from the first second back on the floor. And look, let's not romanticize so much that we stop thinking clearly. A Klay reunion alone does not turn the Warriors into instant favorites. That would be fake analysis. But as a possible move, as a smart, emotionally charged, stylistically clean move, it makes a lot of sense. Klay would not have to be 2016 Klay. He would need to be useful Klay, timely Klay, Floor spacing Klay. You forgot I can still swing a playoff quarter Klay. We've already seen him still climb all-time shooting ladders even in Dallas, which is another reminder that the shot itself has not disappeared from the planet. And here's where I come out favorable to the Warriors on this whole scenario. If Golden State is serious about maximizing what is left of the Steph era, then every move has to answer one question. Does this help Steph breathe easier in big games? A healthy, motivated Klay back in a familiar environment absolutely can help with that. He knows the reads, he knows the pressure, he knows the expectations, and he would instantly raise the emotional temperature of the entire franchise. Not because nostalgia wins championships by itself, but because smart nostalgia tied to real basketball fit can still matter. That is the difference. So my take is simple. If Dallas truly opens the door and the price is reasonable, the Warriors should look hard at bringing Klay Thompson home. No pretending, no panic, no fantasy sold as fact. Just a real basketball conversation about whether one of the greatest partnerships this franchise has ever seen still has a few meaningful chapters left. Dub Nation, tell me right now, would you want the Warriors to bring Klay back from Dallas if the opportunity opens? Or do you think the team has to move fully forward and leave that era where it ended? Drop your take in the comments, hit like, and subscribe to Warriors Nation News.